Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So if you feel like you've been doing all the right things and you still feel like you're exhausted, then you're going to love today's video where I'm going to share with you the insights that you need to feel like you've got clarity on why things might not be working out for you. So if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Elika. I'm an energy optimization coach and a trusted advisor for purpose-driven leaders who want to have way more energy, because you have come to understand, just like me, that energy is your most valuable currency and you need it to be in overflow to create the impact in the world that you're here to give. So here on this channel, I'll be talking about all the lifestyle hacks, all the experiences that I have, the work that I do with clients in order to really make sure that their energy is so much more efficient in how it's being used. And so let's go into today's video. So the thing I want to really start with on this is this idea that you're meditating, you're doing your personal growth, like you're getting in the journal, you're doing your inner work maybe, and you are exercising and you are eating all the right foods. You're trying to get to bed on time and you still notice that you're just exhausted all the time, that you're still having these energy crashes. So let's be real, this is friggin' frustrating. And I have been in this period in multiple seasons of my life where I just feel like is there even any point when I do so much more than the average person if I still feel this way? But one of the things that I've come to realize is that the world is not designed for us to be using our energy efficiently and for our energy to be in overflow. And so when you know that, you understand that you actually literally need to go against what most people are saying in order for your energy to be nurtured and to be protected. So let's look at what I see as the starting place that we need to look at. So I remember when I first left the corporate career with Burnout, and when I left, I just really had no juice in the tank. And I was looking for answers in all the wrong places in the corporate career, looking for recognition from people that couldn't give me it. It was really truly a story of self-love, you know? And one of the things that was important for me was, as soon as I started to change my diet, was to help as many people around me as possible to do that. And so I started my coaching business first, and then I opened the restaurant. And when I opened the restaurant, I just couldn't understand how I could be doing so much good in the world and it becoming at such an expense to myself. And so I would look out at the customers and I'd be like, oh my God, they get me, they understand, they like my food, they get what I'm doing, they get my mission, they're ultimate food rebels. And then I would literally look behind in my kitchen and I'd be like, oh my God, all these people, what are they doing? And I would see all the things that I felt they were doing wrong and were doing wrong, and all the effort that I was putting in and the drain that it was coming to me in my personal relationship, in my well-being. I remember feeling like, thank gosh, I've got some tools, right? You know, I'd wake up in the morning and I would try to meditate or even exercise before going down to the restaurant. And I remember thinking, God, can you imagine if I didn't have that? But I was still exhausted. And guess what? I then led to my second burnout. So the second burnout for me was this pivotal change. It was the change from when I stopped taking generic advice and I started going inward and looking for answers, even if they didn't make sense on paper, even if they didn't make it. I have the most beautiful doctor now. And the reason I have the most beautiful doctor is I have challenged her in so many times when I've gone, no, it's not that, no, it's not that, no, not. And then that's forced her to go, yeah, well, if you don't think it's that, we could look at this. And I've gone, oh my God, that's it. And we've tested and it's been that, you know? And this has been times where, you know, I was told to go on thyroid meds. It must be your thyroid, look at your thyroid. And I eventually caved in and went on thyroid meds. And literally my thyroid actually my pituitary glands, which literally is the starting point for TSH, or the starting hormone. And it literally sends a signal for you to release certain hormones, right? So there's a pathway that this works. And when I started these thyroid meds, like literally you could see from the test results, we were just testing every month to see how my body was responding. You could see that my brain went, well, since you've got this figured out, we won't do anything. And it literally stopped producing, the pituitary gland stopped producing this hormone. And I was like, oh my God, see, my body's like, no, it doesn't like this. And in that moment, it was great because I had resisted it for so long. I knew I'd caved in, thinking that maybe I don't know well. Maybe, you know, I'm not a medical doctor. You know, the doctors and actually, interesting, it wasn't my doctor that recommended it. It was a functional medicine practitioner that I was considering working with. And at that moment, though, it was really good because it confirmed that the doctor would know what is right, but they still need me to co-create with them. They still needed me to challenge, to say, yeah, no, that doesn't feel right, and to work with that. And it's that really allowed me to really take charge of, like, when are the times when I'm actually just taking the advice because that's the expert, or that's generically what, or that's what everyone does. And when is it that I sense that something is off? I don't necessarily know the answer, but I go to people who are experts in their field and I almost work with them until I go, that's it. So that was the first time, obviously, I mean, not my first burnout, it was my second burnout. And then as I've kind of gone through this journey and I look at all the things that I've done where I'm still like collapsing my energy and still doing all the right things, it's because there was something underlying that was even bigger, that was like, let's say it was the big or like audacious goal. And so for me, that has recently been moving environment, because I noticed that I eat very well. My eating doesn't seem to impact my energy levels. When I like creep into my 80-20 and I have my 20, I test and see that, you know, my gut health and all of that is looking good. My blood work is looking good. I exercise, and I've shifted the last 5 years, I was exercising in a way that was really restorative for my body, like really balancing out the harder stuff with the softer stuff and not just going hard all the time. I've had a daily meditation practice for now 8 years. And so getting myself to that point of like loving and thriving in meditation, as opposed to, oh my God, I can't do it, I'm dreading it. And yet there was this consistent, it's almost like, you know, when you go somewhere and it's like they have this really annoying noise in the background and you can't kind of figure out what it is, it's like hum. There was this like kind of hum that was showing up in my world. And in that hum was like the thing that I've not quite figured out. And the great thing is, and I know it's frustrating when you've tried so many different things, but the great thing about that is you have a process of elimination of what it's not. And because of that, that leads you to consider what it is. Now, truth be known, I have multiple coaches, multiple mentors in my life, because I see the power of what I do with my clients. And of course I want that for myself. So I'm a person that doesn't believe that you can get there alone, because I just don't think that your brain that allows you to stay stuck, that doesn't allow you to have the answer, will find you the answer without some exchange of, you know, expertise with somebody else that is solely paid and therefore invested in finding you the answer. But that work led me to go, okay, these things are all good. Now I need to work on changing environment. That last bit. And it was so funny because when I went back to my doctor who I've worked with for years, and I said, look, this is what I think I'm going to do, she was like, absolutely. And so guess what? She didn't think to tell me before. I had to muster that up in myself, and she was like, hell yes, that is right, I totally agree, I think this is going to be really good for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like, why did you not tell me before? But equally, because it comes from within you. So what I want to go to is all these places where you are not getting results because you are following generic advice. So when we look about your diet, think about how many diet plans are out there. Think about right now, it's really heavily focused around keto, which is a low carbohydrate diet. And yet I know my Indian clients, they just like struggle because they're like, how are we going to remove carbs, especially when they're Indian vegetarian? Like, how are we going to remove carbs, like, and still eat and still enjoy food? And so you know that in every single cell of their body is saying no to a purely keto diet. And yet I see somebody else having phenomenal success on a keto diet. You see the same with vegan. You know, I trained as a plant-based chef. So you better believe that I was around so many people that were thriving on a plant-based diet. And yet I came off that diet myself because I felt that it's not that it doesn't work. I felt amazing on it, but I couldn't sustain it, especially living in a city where it was just like my body needed that strength of the protein from meat, from animal products. And without that, I felt just a bit weaker, but I didn't feel that way when I was in Bali and I was eating my 100% plant-based and raw vegan, which is like not even anything cooked above 40 degrees. And my body was shining and doing really well. So all this is to say is that there are nuances within each diet, because every single diet that hits mainstream is designed to feed the masses. And so you may take a diet like the keto diet and you may add in, okay, I'm going to have colorful vegetables instead of like sticking to green vegetables and berries and citrus to keep it below 100 grams of carbs. Or you might go, you know, I'm not going to have that particular grain. Like for me, I avoid oats now because I do find that very inflammatory. But rice, I don't feel inflamed when I eat rice. Or even let's say you take a healthy choice like moving to plant-based milk. Like how many of the restaurants or cafes sell plant-based milk now? But whenever I go into a cafe that I'm going to for the first time and I want to choose a plant-based milk, I ask them which ones they have, and I ask to look at it. My favorite is coconut milk, but no, I'm literally never finding any cafes that do the coconut milk that I like, which is 100% coconut milk. And so I look at the ingredients of their soy milk, their coconut milk if they have it, their almond milk if they have it, and it's full of like processed seed oils like sunflower oil and canola oil. It's got like glucose and sugar added to it, or fructose added to it. It's got so many E numbers, and you're saying that that's healthier than plain cow's milk? Now, I'm someone that's lactose intolerant, but I've now gone to circumstances where I'm like, I really fancy, I don't know, my matcha latte or a cappuccino. And I look at the plant-based milk, and I go, do you know what? I'm better just having cow's milk. And I have cow's milk. And yet, do I want to be drinking cow's milk every day? For me, no, I'm lactose intolerant. Commercial cow's milk is full of hormones. I just don't think that's going to be the best thing for my diet. But again, like the mainstream is saying, go plant-based on your milk, and then feeding us with these milks that you could be drinking every single day that could be literally irritating your gut and feeding you with inflammatory seed oils. So this goes to show how with nutrition, unless you tune into what's your version of what is given, you could be doing so much right and not getting the results. And then I see the same when it comes to, you know, how we exercise. You know, a lot of the intense exercises, and I know that it's when I signed up for my F45 and, you know, I was encouraged to go 5-6 times a week. And my physical body was under a highly stressful environment. I was running a commercial kitchen as well as a coaching business. I was the one that should have gone, this is too much. I don't need another layer of intensity on my nervous system. I don't need to keep on putting my body through that much stress. Remember, exercise is stress because it breaks down muscles and you repair them bigger and stronger with rest and protein. And yet, you know, I was pushing myself in that way because they showed me the results, right? They had brilliant results. Every trainer in that gym was in great shape as well. And yet I didn't think at that time, where are the trainers that are 40s and have gone through the test of time, and I've been working in this environment for over a year, so I can see how sustainable it is? I didn't think to ask myself that question at the time, and therefore I didn't get the answer on why I couldn't sustain that level of fitness and maintain a good body weight without being absolutely exhausted, right? And then when we look at the work that we do, this is so big. What I see is there are so many ways in which we get told to run our businesses or work in another business. One of the key ways is marketing. Like, you know, the social media platforms that you must promote on or build content on. the way that you build content. Everybody, you must have a podcast. How many people say to me, Elika, you must have a podcast, you must have a podcast. And I go, maybe at some point, but it just never resonated with me. But the idea of showing up on YouTube and doing long form content and just sharing with you, like today, my experience, that always felt really, really good. What didn't feel good is the technical element dealing with lighting and all those stuff, but just like sharing like this, just all the experience that I have and helping others to really go on that journey and get clarity without going through the long, arduous path that I had to go through. That felt natural to me. And then interestingly, what happened was last year, then my team started to show me all the different ways that my video content could just be turned into a podcast if I wanted to, using AI. And can you imagine if I just was like everybody else going, okay, yeah, I'm on social media, they're right, I should have a podcast, and then go into doing it because I should have done. How much energy would I have wasted and how exhausted would I be trying to add this extra layer which isn't myself? So hopefully you're getting an idea of exactly why when we follow these paths that are laid out in front of us, we can be doing all the right things and still be drained of our energy, still feeling exhausted. So what is the answer? Well, in my experience, what I have found with coaching over the last 10 years is this one resource that is helping me the most, that I'm using with every client, that is just quantum leaping the process of their transformation, is human design. And human design, if you've not watched any of my other videos on human design or heard about it, is a roadmap to your authentic self. It's the energetic blueprint of you and your body and how you're designed to give and receive energy. If you don't do you, no one else can do you. But as you know, when we are born, we're not born with the guidebook of Elika and how to use her and how to get success and which relationships are better. We don't get that. And yet human design gives us the closest to that we can get. And you know, so many people come to me for human design readings that have had readings elsewhere, and they can't tell me anything about their human design, because human design, just like other tools, can be just information that you receive in your head and you don't integrate and change your lifestyle based around it. But what I love is those people that are committed to, they're not changing their lifestyle, they're going back to who they truly are and removing the things that are in their life that are not in sync with their values, what feels true to them, what brings them joy. And so I want to give you some examples of how, like, you know, human design has been showing up for some of the clients that I've worked with. So I had a guy that I worked with recently, and when we went through his human design, we could see that his throat area, where we talk about the throat chakra, which is your area of communication and the most powerful area to manifest, we could see that this area was an open space where he receives energy on what he wants to talk about through others. But yet we could see that from what he was sharing with me, that he found it really difficult to explain how he was feeling about certain situations, and he was getting very frustrated with his family members not really appreciating like how he feels about certain things, and therefore he had just trained himself just to say what they want him to say. And so yet when we looked at his human design, and we could see very clearly that he has the energetic body to speak on behalf of others. And that's what naturally his energy typically leans towards. Then we could see how it was so much easier for him to say what they wanted to say, but how it was making him feel, because it wasn't really in alignment to his core values and how emotionally he was feeling. That was what was causing the illness that he was experiencing. So when we started to get into practice on feeling the feeling of saying something that they want and how that felt in his body, and we started building that muscle, within 1 week, he was able to start building content from that authentic voice and saw his content going viral. And then I think about one of the other ladies that I worked with, and she was a projector. And a projector, there are 5 energy body types in human design, and projectors are these body types that tend to be energetically very magnetic, very soft, I would say, on the outside, so they attract a lot of people towards them. And inside, they're very discerning. And with this energy body type, they generally have a tendency to really rely on others to provide their main energy fuel. And that's because there's a part of the body that really is, we call it motors, that generates a lot of energy. and they don't have that sacral energy that 70% of the population have. And so they really have to conserve energy because they're designed to use their energy efficiently. That's not hard for them. But the challenge they have is that 70% of the people around them don't use energy in that way. So 70% of the population are what we call generators or generator types. And they're like the doers, they're the builders, they're the creators. They have this abundance of energy that they generate themselves. And so if you didn't know you were a projector, like my client, she didn't know. She was working the 9 till 5, which is now the 8 till 8. She was doing all the things and never felt content and actually felt bitter and was now experiencing her second autoimmune disease. And that's where literally your body is going, oh my God, I can't deal with this anymore. Let's fight. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to find a way to protect you by inflaming. And yet the moment we tuned into how her energy body works as a projector and therefore how her working style has to be completely different, and how she can get so much more by doing less because her body is designed to use efficiency. So she can start looking at the world through the lens of efficiency and start applying that, speaking about that, doing those things rather than the generic thing that you do when you're a generator and you've got this abundance of energy that you want to just offload. And so these are examples where we can see how just understanding your authentic self means that you can apply marketing theories, you can apply what you eat, you can apply what you exercise, how you work, your relationships. You can apply this through the lens of your unique profile. And so if you're interested in exploring that and just going, I am ready to not just do the things that I'm supposed to do and be on the treadmill of life, but to really understand myself so deeply that if something comes to me from an expert in that field, it could be the person that has studied this for the last 5 years and has spent the last 30 years working in it. But if it doesn't resonate with me and it feels ick, then I am willing to go a different path. And that path is the path that I know how I'm designed. And that's the level of confidence and clarity you have when you know you and you know how your energy body is designed, and you're therefore not having to follow generic paths. So I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you. I would love to hear any insights you've got in the comments below. So please share that with me. And I always love to just let you know that I love you to be on my newsletter list, because here's the thing, that is where I live my life through the lens of managing energy, and I share with you how I do it, how I audit my energy, the experiences that I'm having, the experiences that I'm sharing with clients, and all of this lifestyle habits of what it takes to look at life through the lens of managing your energy. So you'll see the link to my newsletter if you like the sound of that, just getting that weekly energy update and getting that reminder. You'll see the link to that in the description box. And if you do like this video, please give it a like so that more and more people can find it. I'm really committed to making sure that I share more about this content. Of course, if you feel like you want to go on the journey with me, you've got the newsletter, subscribe to this so you get notified. So I would love to be on this journey with you as you are unfolding. There are details below if you feel like you want to work with someone like me to just really make that commitment to actually managing your energy and building that lifestyle. That will always start with an energy audit so we can see if there's a fit. But if not, you still have the content that I'm sharing. So I look forward to seeing you on the next